You saw the headline, you saw the title of the video, you know what we're talking about. Hollywood is in complete shambles. And something's got to change, because if we've seen anything so far this year, there's a major problem and they don't know what to do. But maybe we got some ideas, right? Okay, so let's look at this year. The biggest film so far is Dune Part 2, which is kind of insane, but again, hey, it's a sequel to the first film. A lot of people watched that one. There was a lot of hype. It was one of the first big blockbusters of the year. Naturally, big concept sci-fi. It checked off a lot of check marks, right? It's this epic. It's best viewed in theaters. That's what you want. But then, there's a lot of other films we're talking about these days. The latest Planet of the Apes, not exactly setting the box office world on fire. I loved it, but it's not. Then there was Fall Guy. I loved that film. I thought it was great, but nobody else that I know, besides like 2 people, one of them being Nick, even saw that film. So again, it's a big issue. You look at Godzilla vs. Kong New Empire, stayed in theaters for a lot of weeks, and it's the biggest earning film in that franchise. But again, it's not as high as some people thought it was going to be. And then you have all these other films that are bombing. They're not doing good. And now Hollywood is looking at Deadpool and Wolverine as a potential savior, and we just had Inside Out 2, which I must tell you is a great film that you should watch, but we're taking that out of the equation because for some reason people seem to ignore that Disney has a lot of hits, and they always try to go, well, how's Hollywood doing? But don't include Disney, which doesn't make sense. And also this year, isn't the industry literally saying we need Deadpool to make $1 billion? So why ignore Disney in some of these, right? I don't get the argument. Again, maybe I'm missing something. Probably not. I don't know. But let's get back to talking about why Hollywood is in shambles. So the Hollywood Reporter and Deadline and everybody at the midpoint of the year now is looking at everything that's coming out, everything that's come out, and realizing that it's all low. People aren't showing up. And there is also a lot of reasons for this that they don't bring up. Is it raising ticket costs? Maybe. I would say that's a factor. Interest in films. That's definitely a factor. Why would somebody want to go watch Fall Guy? Ryan Gosling, right? Oh, Ken. They liked him as Ken. They don't like him as guy in movie, right? So there's a lot of this with all these films. And what I'm seeing right now is they're saying that Hollywood needs to figure out what the problem is, but we have figured out the problem that they choose to ignore. And that's that many people don't want to spend $50, $60, $70 to go see a film. And remember, it's been said multiple times, if everything that comes out every weekend is a blockbuster, then nothing is a blockbuster. You can't have a blockbuster every single weekend. And this is evident in the fact that a blockbuster used to be a blockbusting time frame. That's what it means. So film would come out and it had a block where it busted through the box office and it was the big hit. Whether it was 4 weeks or 6 weeks or 8 to 12 weeks back in the day. Now the blockbuster window is 2 weeks and you're expected to have a blockbuster that makes $200 million opening weekend every single weekend. The myth of perpetual growth cannot be something that you apply to everything. You can't even apply it to everything because you can't sustain perpetual growth all the time. It's just impossible. So maybe Hollywood, instead of blaming the audience, trying to shift blame, trying to figure out why it's in shambles, maybe they should look inwards and realize that maybe they are the problem. Expecting an economy that is in shambles to contribute to a dying industry that's in shambles when people are struggling to eat, or maybe they want to save for that, I don't know, collector's edition of their favorite game that's going to give them 300 hours of gameplay this summer. Maybe that's more important than going and seeing a film that they know is going to be on digital in a couple of weeks. All right, do we need to talk about that as well? How Hollywood has now trained everybody, and you constantly see people saying the same thing. Oh, if I don't catch it in theaters, I'll just catch it on Netflix in like 4 weeks. So you've trained us, you told us what to do, you're raising the prices of all these services. Is it coincidental that Max is raising prices in specific locations or starting to add, well, ad support into tiers as Game of Thrones comes back? So I'm going to have to pay like what, $20 to watch Max just for this, to not have commercials? Okay, but when is the film coming? And now that window is getting longer once it's out of theater in some of these services. So they're actively fighting against us. They're blaming us for not seeing the films. They're blaming us for not subbing to the services. They're blaming us for watching the film on the services, but they keep raising the prices. At the end of the day, watching Fall Guy at home is going to cost you as much as watching it in the theater when it comes out. But people don't have money for either. So maybe Hollywood isn't as big of shambles as they like to claim, although it is. But maybe the economy and everything contributes to this. And we're all left just sort of sitting there going, well, how do you fix this? Because I don't want to keep paying you every weekend to watch films that are going to be on services the next day. But also, you're saying everything's a blockbuster. So which one is an actual blockbuster? What do you actually want me to see and you want the crowd to all show up to? Because it can't be all of them. It used to be 4 or 5 films a year. Now, it's 40 films a year. Where's the sustainability? So I think you guys get what I am saying. I think you guys get the argument here. Hollywood really is in a very, very weird position. And if you guys would do me the honors and go to the comments, everybody that's watching this, that's made it this far, post a comment about what films you're aiming to see in the next year. Or let's go till December, right? And how many films have you seen this year? And do you find it sustainable? You know, I've seen, I think, like 18 in theaters. And honestly, I could have skipped half those and not miss it. You know, there's a lot of issues in Hollywood right now. But if you really think about the bigger picture here, we can't go see all the big films like they want us to. And I saw in the report, they're talking about how much money specific films have lost. Whether it's Furiosa or, you know, Fall Guy, for example, because I mentioned it a couple times. And they're looking at upcoming films. They're saying, could the same fate fall on them? Yes. But also, there's the perception of what is a blockbuster. Why did Hollywood think that Furiosa would make $500 million when Fury Road couldn't even hit that? Just because cinephiles on the internet are obsessed with Anya Taylor-Joy and tell you it's going to be a $1 billion film, it doesn't mean it's true. Because she doesn't have the staying power of a big-time actor. And clearly neither does Ryan Gosling, unless he's Ken. So then we're back at the issue of, why is Hollywood so wrong in their perception of what we want? So you guys let me know down below. I talked a lot in this video. It's going to be a longer one, but I had to talk about it. Because Hollywood doesn't get it. Maybe we do. Or maybe we don't. Maybe everybody's wrong and Hollywood is right. Let me know.